3 races and 3 wins for one driver from Oklahoma. It's Christopher Bell's world. We're really just living in it at this point. Hi, everybody. I'm Alex Weaver, and we're going to break down Phoenix on this Monday's edition of NASCAR Daily. Christopher Bell is on an absolute tear. He's making history as the first driver to win 3 straight races in the next-gen car, and the first driver to win 3 races at the start of the season since Kevin Harvick did it in 2018. It's been clutch performances, ice cold precision behind the wheel, not making mistakes, being there at the end when it mattered the most. And now we head to Vegas, which is a race that Christopher Bell has not won yet, but he's finished runner up there a couple of times. He also has had some really fast race cars when it's come to Vegas. So can he keep the streak alive? Can he continue to make history and get 4 in a row done? Well, we're going to ask him. Well, I mentioned that it was his world. We were just living in it. And 3 wins in a row at this point. I mean, 16 playoff points already, and we're 4 races into the season. Congratulations, Christopher. It's the Monday with Seatbelt. We're just going to start trademarking it.
I love it. Yes. And you hit on it. It's all about those playoff points. It is a good time to be on the 20 car right now. Our team is just doing everything right. And what you're seeing is everybody finally, we've all been putting in the effort, but it just hasn't been clicking. And now it is clicking, and we're getting to see the fruit of all of our efforts put together. Things are going really good. You know, it was a lot harder yesterday than what I would have liked it to have been, but that makes it more special. Whenever you look back at it in time, those hard ones, the hard fought wins, are the ones that you cherish the most, and that one was definitely that.
Now, you're always smiling and you're always in a good mood, but you got out of the car yesterday and there was just this big grin on your face. Was it because of the finish and how great the finish was?
Yeah, I mean, you would love to just ride off into the sunset like I did 12 months ago here, but it's like I said, it makes it more special whenever it's hard to get. And I'll be honest, that last green white checkered, I didn't think there was any way I was going to win. Coming to the white flag, I was on the bottom on the back straightaway. Denny beside me, I thought I was in the losing position, and then I almost cleared him into turn 1, but I didn't. And then down the back straightaway again, coming to the checkered flag, I thought I was in the losing position, and had no idea how I was going to beat him to the start finish line. And one thing was for sure, though, I said, no matter what happens, I have to make sure that one of these 2 cars win this race. I did not want to make a mistake and take out both of us.
Yeah, it was a Joe Gibbs Racing sweep. They won ARCA, Xfinity, and Cup. Obviously, you know that, but I'm just telling the fans, if they don't know that, it was a broom weekend for JGR. Let's also look at the option tire. I know you might have a strong feeling about the option tire, given that you took the checkered flag and you won the race, but give me the honest, brutal opinion of the option tire. How'd you feel about it at Phoenix?
Well, I thought that the tire was a good tire. I think NASCAR, I've been very vocal about having 2 compounds in the race. I don't like having 2 compounds in the race. I believe it adds a gimmick to the sport, and it just it gets away from traditional racing. I know other forms of motorsports do it. The difference is that they don't have planned yellow flags with the stages. Yeah. I think that's a big deal. And then having 2 tire compounds where one is a significant advantage is a total gimmick, and I'm not a fan of that. But I do understand that NASCAR uses that as a test session, and their goal is to get the tire softer to where it races a little bit better. And I don't think anybody will argue that the red tire probably raced better than the yellow tire. So if we can move forward with that being the primary option, then, or the only tire in a race, then I think it's a successful debut for it. And yeah, it definitely was different. It had a lot more grip. It clearly fell off a little bit more. I wish that the fall off would have happened a little bit sooner. But it was a good step in the right direction. And I applaud Goodyear and NASCAR for trying to improve our product continuously and not sitting on their hands. So overall, it was a great race. We saw a great race, and it seemed like the best cars ended up racing for the win.
Well, we'll stay out west for this upcoming weekend. We're heading to Las Vegas, and 4 in a row has not been done since Jimmy Johnson did it in 2007. So it's been a hot minute. It's been a little while. How do you feel about your chances at Vegas this Sunday?
Yeah, I mean the schedule lines up almost perfect to do this four-peat or whatever it's called. I mean, yeah, if I had to pick a racetrack on the calendar, Vegas would be pretty high up to go for this opportunity. But like I just said, winning cup races is extremely hard, and I'm well aware that you're not going to win all of them, and the streak could come to an end next week. But I could also win again next week. It's a great racetrack for me, and the last time at Vegas was a home run of a weekend. Besides a car number 22 making it on fuel and not having to make a pit stop. So, yeah, I mean it's a great place, and I certainly think that we have every opportunity to go out there and make it happen.
Well, you're showing you're a championship contender pretty on early in the season, and I'm going to read these stats. Christopher already knows these, but for you guys at home, 12 Cup wins, 19 Xfinity wins, 7 truck wins, a truck title, 3 Chili Bowls, a USAC midget title, 2 Championship 4 appearances. It was nearly a third. You're the first to win 3 straight races in the next gen car. Do you think you're underrated, Christopher?
Oh, the $1 million question. Alex, that's not for me to decide. I'm just gonna keep on adding to those numbers, hopefully, and I can promise you one thing: it's a great day to be Christopher Bell, and I'm gonna soak it all in, enjoy every moment, because you never know when's gonna be your last win or last win for a long time. Just ride the wave, and I'm happy to be on top again and try and keep the ball rolling.
Well, Christopher and Morgan are friends of mine, so I'm going to say it. Yes, he's underrated. Buy stock in Christopher Bell if you haven't already. Well, enjoy the week out west. We'll see you in Vegas. Congratulations.
Thank you, Alex.
It was some epic finishes at Phoenix this weekend, and obviously Christopher Bell gets it done on Sunday in the Cup Series, which was a wild finish. Let's break that down first because it was the second closest finish in Cup history at Phoenix. First last lap pass of the track in Cup Series history in 58 races. I mean, we saw Kyle Larson, who was coming from behind, who made the point to say that he could have gone down low to make the race even better, but he probably would have taken all 3 of them out. Denny Hamlin, who was running side by side with Christopher Bell, and 2 teammates were basically told, hey, don't wreck each other. Let's have one of our cars win and have Joe Gibbs Racing sweep the weekend. But from the final restart to the drop of the checkered flag, it was incredible racing in the Cup Series. And that was just Sunday. We had an Xfinity Series race on Saturday that saw a Cup Series regular and Alex Bowman going after a win, but it ended up being Eric Amarola, who's hard charging to get the sweep for Joe Gibbs Racing to even start the racing action off on Saturday. Incredible racing. 3 of the first 4 races of the season have been decided by a last lap pass in the Cup Series. But not only are you getting exciting racing on Sunday in the Cup Series, the Xfinity Series is putting on such an incredible show this season. Are you not entertained? What more do you want? Phoenix is going to be the site where we crown our champions later in November. So if this is any indication of what Phoenix has to offer, the finishes were a 10 out of 10 for me. Well, if it didn't get your heart racing with the finishes in Phoenix, then you at least got to use your brain power a little bit because it was the first time we saw the NASCAR Cup Series given an option tire at Phoenix. And this is me just taking another drink because the words option tire were used I don't know how many times on the broadcast. So if you were playing a drinking game, I'm praying for you after Sunday because option tire was the story of the race. And every single time that the NASCAR Cup Series has been given the option of an option tire, in my opinion, it's been better racing. I'm looking back at Martinsville and Watkins Glen of last season and now Phoenix. We mentioned the finishes. We mentioned how incredible the racing was, especially at the end of it. But with the option tire, it allowed us to have different players that finished in the top 10. Now, a little bit of different players. I'm saying Joey Logano. We know he's so good at Phoenix. He's won a championship there. But Joey Logano was hard charging towards the front and led the race up until a restart violation, which we'll get to later. But the option tires played a favor for the 22 of Joey Logano. We also saw drivers like Eric Jones and Ty Dillon. I mean, everywhere that you looked on the racetrack, if you saw the red Goodyear Eagles, it was an option tire on those cars. And Ryan Preece was one of those drivers that put on a clinic at one point in the race and gained over 20 spots on the racetrack. The story of the end of stage 1 and stage 2 was Ryan Preece. And we don't hear that very often, but the option tires gave him that ability, obviously running around and passing the winner ultimately of the race of Christopher Bell. But let's take a look at the different players in the top 10. And I'm going to credit the option tire and also just being good at Phoenix, but the option tire. Take a drink. Christopher Bell obviously was our winner. Denny Hamlin was our runner-up, this is Denny's first top 5 finish this season. Kyle Larson, regular player. But Josh Berry, it was the strongest start and the strongest finish for Wood Brothers Racing. Chris Buescher, William Byron, who had a fast car all day long, Alex Bowman, Kyle Busch, Zane Smith. Kyle Busch even talked about how it was so much better than last year with RCR in the 8, but Zane Smith finished in the top 10, and then rounding out with Chase Elliott. So the option tire, I feel like everything I'm giving today is a 10 out of 10, but I enjoyed having the option of the option tire. Phoenix Raceway is one of my favorite racetracks, and if you've never been, you should go. This is your sign to go ahead and buy your tickets for the championship in November because it's going to be a good one. But Rattlesnake Hill, if you don't know, that's the view at Phoenix Raceway. It's known for one of the greatest views in all of motorsports. That's not an exaggeration. It's epic. But what they don't tell you is that the snakes can jump out and bite our drivers. Well, kind of. Not literally, figuratively, because mistakes were also made at Phoenix Raceway, which is a place where, lucky for our drivers, you want to get them out of the way in the spring race as opposed to the championship race in November. But let's break down a huge mistake that we saw. And I'm not going to call up the driver today because he might still disagree with the call, but Joey Logano, who used up all of his option tires and then had the restart violation while he was leading the race. The rule is you can't go below the yellow line, cross the yellow line with any part of the car until a certain point after you cross the start-finish line. Okay, so let's take a look. There's the start-finish line. And I mean, it looks to me like we're over the yellow line. Again, I'm not going to call JL because he might disagree, but the rule's a rule. And regardless of how close it was or how nitpicky it may have been, restart violation for Joey Logano, put him at the back of the field, had to go down pit road. Major mistake that might have cost him the race because the 22 had such a great car on Sunday. Well, all of the action at Phoenix was incredible. And if you took a gamble on an option tire, it might have paid off in your favor. But I'm saying gamble because that leads me to where we're headed this upcoming weekend for NASCAR. We're going to Vegas, Sin City. And you know what they say, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, but it's not going to be the case for us. We're in store for some exciting racing action, but don't worry, we have the rest of the week here on NASCAR Daily. Jesse Punch is back tomorrow for your Tuesday download, and I'll be back on Wednesday, and we'll hop into some Vegas storylines because I'm excited. And I hope you are too. So subscribe to us on YouTube if you haven't already, or wherever you listen to your podcast, and check out all of the NASCAR Daily content on the NASCAR channel on Tubi. I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Bye, everybody.